Hi students, welcome to your next math video. Today's lesson is going to be on how you can use comparative relational thinking to tell if an equation is true or false. Now let's remember how to start our notes. The first thing you should write is the date, and the next thing you need to write is the title. Pause the video and get that completed. Okay, now that you have the date and title, let's take apart the question. Comparative relational thinking. Remember, an equation tells that two things are equal. 7 plus 5 equals 15. Today, we're just going to look at equations and tell if they are true or false. Comparative relational thinking. Comparative means you will be comparing. Relational means you're going to be looking for the relationships between the numbers. And thinking means just that. Of course, you need to think and explain how you're thinking. Here's what it looks like. 5 plus 9 equals 3 plus 11. You need to decide, is that a true or false statement? Now, you're all old enough to tell me, well, 5 plus 9 is 14, and 3 plus 11 is 14. So of course they're true, Mrs. Sheridan. They both add to 14. Well, that is a correct statement. That does not use comparative relational thinking. Remember, we want to look for the relationships between the numbers. So in this case, I'm going to look here, and I'm going to say 5 on this side of the equation and 3 on this side of the equation. That 3 is 2 less than 5. In order for my equation to stay balanced, this number is going to have to be 2 more than the other number. Is 9 plus 2 11? It is. So I can prove this is true with that kind of thinking. True because 3 is 2 less than 5, and 11 is 2 more than 9. Let's look at another one. Let's look at this problem. I'm going to explain this problem now comparing different numbers. This time I'm going to think of my equation, and I'm going to start by comparing my 9 and my 3. 9, to get to 3, I have to do subtracting 6. In order for my equation to be true now, I need to say from 5 to 11 has to be the opposite of subtracting 6, which is adding 6. 5 plus 6 is 11, so this equation is true. And I explain it by saying that because 11 is 6 more than 5, and 3 is 6 less than 9. Now there are more ways still to make this equation true by using comparative relational thinking. Just keep in mind that we're comparing the relationships between numbers, not adding both sides. Let's look at one more example. 15 plus 29 equals 10 plus 24. Let's start by comparing the 15 and the 10. If I go from 15 to get 10, I need to subtract 5. To go from 29 to 24, if my equation was true, I would have to add 5, because I need these to be 0. But 29 to 24 is not 5 more. It's in fact 5 less. That makes this equation false, because 10 and 24 are each 5 less than 15 and 29. Remember, the key is to do the opposite and keep your equations. Let's look at 2 more. I want to balance my equation. So if I do from 37 to get to 40, that's 3 more. The opposite of 3 more is 3 less. Is 64 minus 361? It is. So I know my equation is true. And I explain it by saying 40 is 3 more than 37. And 61 is 3 less than 64. Let's look at one more. I'm going to think about my equation again, keeping them balanced.
South AC to the front.
And if you notice, I almost always compare my first 2 numbers and my second 2 numbers. So 44
Stairs, please call the front office.
compared to 40. 44 to get to 40, I have to do minus 4. That means from 114 to 110, hopefully I'm doing the opposite, which is adding 4. But I'm not. I'm actually subtracting 4. So they're not opposites. This equation is false because 40 and 110 are both less than 44 and 114. You may be asking yourself, Mrs. Sheridan, why can't I just add these numbers? And I know this is a different way of thinking, so don't get frustrated. We're going to do it over the next several days. Let's take a look at your notes. Did you copy the 2 examples? If not, go back now and pick 2 examples to copy. You can pick any 2 from the video. If you were at home, you would do the quiz that goes with this lesson. Remember, those quizzes are not really quizzes, but we use the information to set up groups. You'll practice this more in class now, so you have time to really get an understanding of what comparative relational thinking is.